of them all. He's Rocky's trainer. And he's really good in Rocky Balboa. I just rewatched a bunch of the Rocky films, by the way, so I'm super stoked on a lot of them.
I need to do that as well.
You can skip a couple of them, but I had rewatched the majority of them. And Tony Burton's awesome. He's great in this, which I think the original Rocky is the same year as this. I think they come out about the same time, because if I'm not mistaken, all the Rocky movies, even the Creed movies, come out around Thanksgiving. So this opens, would you say, November 3rd?
Yeah, yes.
And I believe Rocky comes out at Thanksgiving time. So both movies come out within the same month. Even though I think this premiered. Was it just a premiere?
Yeah, November 3rd it was the premiere in LA. For the States.
Yeah, okay. So it opens up in the States on November 3rd, but doesn't really do much and is kind of ignored until it goes overseas and gets more recognition.
Which, I mean, if they did open up in the atmosphere of Rocky, that's not great for this movie.
No, but, I mean, this is a low-budget movie. I don't know what their release plan was. You know, it probably wasn't on a lot of screens. But still, this movie's great.
It is. It is.
So I want to shout him out. And I want to shout out Lori Zimmer, who plays Lee. And she's cool as ice in this movie.
Yeah, the entire time.
Yeah, it's like nothing like phases her. She's like really calm, like she'll do what needs to get done. Even when she gets shot.
She seemed... Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, she gets hit in the arm and she just doesn't freak out, doesn't cry.
She also seems to have some kind of, like, her and Napoleon have something underlying.
Yeah, there's definitely chemistry between them.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure, but she's... Lori Zimmer is only in a few movies, period. Like, she didn't do a whole lot, which kind of sucks, because I think she's great in this.
Yeah, and she has that kind of this quality about her where I feel like she could have went far. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even think she works with Carpenter again. But when I looked her up, she only had maybe a half a dozen film credits, and a few of those seem like bit parts.
I think in my research, I found out that Lori thought that she did a shitty job in this.
You're right. You're right. I read that in my research. But no, she doesn't. She's great. She's great. She really keeps it together throughout the entire movie. Steps up when she needs to. Has a really great exchange with Wilson in the basement, where she only has 2 rounds left in the Magnum that she has, and she says, do I save the last 2 rounds for us? And Wilson says, nope, save them for the first 2 assholes that come through that vent. Which is a great line, and we mentioned this years ago when we talked about Tarantino and From Dusk Till Dawn, but Assault on Precinct 13 is referenced in From Dusk Till Dawn, both with the t-shirt that Scott is wearing that says Precinct 13. It's basically an Assault on Precinct 13 movie for the second half. And that very similar exchange happens between Seth and Christ, what's Juliette Lewis's name? Kate, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Because she says, do we save the last rounds for us? And Seth says, no, save them for the next fuck that tries to bite you.
Also, isn't This is one of Tarantino's favorite movies, right?
Probably.
I think he's went on record saying that he fucking adores this movie, and I mean, you can see in his style, like Reservoir Dogs, how it's pretty much set like in the warehouse. You know, there's similarities through a few pieces of his work.
Yeah, I know he's a big Carpenter fan, and I mean that definitely tracks, because From Dusk Till Dawn, like I said, the second half of that movie, or at least the last third of that movie, when everyone is teamed up to defend themselves against the vampires, is definitely Assault on Precinct 13. But going back to Lee, I just wanted to mention that because Carpenter, this film is kind of looked at as a remake or an homage to Rio Bravo.
Which is a movie you don't like, correct?
Which is a movie I don't care for, which honestly isn't really a siege movie either. So every time I kept reading, oh yeah, it's an homage to Rio Bravo, I was like, really? Because I didn't really get that read off of Rio Bravo when I watched it. And no, you know my thing with John Wayne. I don't care for him, and beyond maybe one or two of the films I've ever seen with him, don't like any of those movies. Did not care for Rio Bravo, and I think it's overlong. But the screenwriter of Rio Bravo, or at least the co-writer, is Lee Brackett, and that's who the character of Lee in this film is named for. And Lee Brackett's, if you don't know, had a couple of really famous Raymond Chandler adaptations. She adapted The Big Sleep, starring Humphrey Bogart. And then she adapted The Long Goodbye for Robert Altman in the 70s, which is a very good movie. You should check that out, with Elliot Gould.
Okay.
Really good movie. She adapted that. And, of course, her probably most famous credit, even though I think it was posthumous, I think she had died before the movie came out, is she co-wrote The Empire Strikes Back with Lawrence Kasdan. But I believe she had passed away before that movie comes out. I think she died in the late 70s. But yeah, that's who the character of Lee is named for. And if I'm not mistaken, Sheriff Brackett in Halloween is also named for her.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
Also, while you bring up Halloween, let's talk about the connection with Charles Cyphers and Nancy Loomis. I'll say Loomis, as they was Sheriff Brackett and his daughter Annie in Halloween, and then they're both in Assault.
Yep. Cyphers is what's his name? Starker. He's the guy that's escorting the prisoners.
Mm-hmm. Like their caretaker, pretty much. Yeah,
Starker. I couldn't remember if it was Starker or Stoker. I knew it was one of those. Yeah, he's the guy that is transporting the prisoners. Wilson and Wells, and the guy who keeps coughing. And then, like when they pull off at the precinct, he's telling Bishop, hey, we got a sick man here. Can we bring him in? Because if what he has is contagious, then we're all going to be sick. And then, first of all, we're living in the COVID times right now, so I'm really freaking out that this guy's coughing all over the place. He looks really ill.
Yeah,
but then it's like Starker was worried about all them being contaminated, but he's literally chained, sitting next to Wells the entire ride, and he's not worried about Wells at all.
Yeah, or any of them. He's just letting this guy cough all over everybody, all over him. He's in close proximity, and he even acknowledges it in the movie where he's like, if this guy, guy has is infectious, then we're all gonna come down with it.
It's a little late for that, dude. If he's infectious, you're all sick by now.
Yeah, yeah.
He's been coughing in your general area for the last 2 hours. But there's more like Halloween connections with this movie. Do you know that? There's a ton of Halloween connections. Like this, if he hadn't made this movie with this crew and this cast, and had it distributed, like I'm wondering if Halloween would have ever gotten made, because there's so many connections. I mean, it maybe would have happened, but it's kind of like a lot of the people that he worked with on this one, he goes on to do Halloween with, Cyphers and Loomis or Keys. He works with. Let me read you. I wrote them all down because it's pretty crazy. Yeah. All this would lead directly into Carpenter's follow-up film, Halloween, which would prove this is something I wrote, which proved to be his most successful film and the one that would dominate pop culture. One of his producers on this, Irwin Yablans, goes on to produce Halloween. Carpenter names the killer in Halloween. You know what his name is. Okay. After Michael Myers of Miracle Films, who was the British distributor of Assault on Precinct 13. Donald Pleasance agreed to star in Halloween because his daughters were such fans of Assault on Precinct 13. He also is in Escape from New York and Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness, one of what I consider to be one of his most underrated films. And it's a movie another one that I really, really love.
I think it was Shout Factory, they brought that out on Blu-ray as well.
I have that one. That's because that's one that I've seen a number of times and I really enjoy it. And then, like any other good Carpenter movie, fucking bombed at the box office. The little girl that gets killed at the beginning of Assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah, it's pretty devastating the way it's depicted in this.
And it's like the guy just shoots her without even really thinking.
Do you think it was just as far as her being a witness? Like, what was the motivation behind that? Within the story, of course.
Good question. That could be. Except they hadn't shot the ice cream man yet. They had just, like, threatened him and then threw him to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, they shoot her first. Yeah,
he shoots her first, but it almost feels like she startled him and he just shot at the noise. Even though it's not like really quick, it's like really kind of slow and methodical, where he turns and shoots her.
Yeah, because she walks up. So the fucking ice cream man is responsible because she asked for a specific,
she wants like basically like a vanilla chocolate twist.
Yeah, and he gives her regular vanilla. So she's like halfway back to her dad's car, and she would have been safe. And then she's, realizes he gave her the wrong ice cream, so she goes back to get another one. And by this time, the ice cream dude is already being strong-armed by the gang. And she walks up and she's like, "Hey, you gave me the wrong ice cream." And then she realizes that it's like not, that there's a struggle going on. And the gang member turns to her and just shoots her like ruthlessly in the chest. And there's like a squib and everything, but you see it.
The squib work in the movie, there's not a lot, but when they do use the squibs,
super effective.
Really, really effective. The little girl, like the blood just splatters all over her neck and her face when she gets killed.
Yeah.
And then when Starker's trying to load the prisoners back on the bus outside the back door of the precinct, when he gets shot in the back, it's really brutal.
Yeah, oh man, I felt it.
But the little girl that gets killed, Kim Richards, is the sister to Kyle Richards, who is the little girl that is babysat by Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween.
What?
Yeah, she's the sister. And then Deborah Hill, who is the script supervisor and assistant editor on Assault on Precinct 13, goes on to co-write and produce